I never imagined I'd become that kind of woman. The kind who starts longing for something else, something she shouldn't. Not from a stranger, not from a fantasy, but from someone who had quietly become part of the family. I don't know when it started exactly, but one day I realized I felt invisible, like I'd been fading from view, gesture by gesture, moment by moment. Aaron and I had been married for 12 years. 12 years sharing the same house, the same bed, the same dull routine. Our conversations had been reduced to basics, groceries, errands, logistics. At night, we slept back to back, separated not by space, but by silence. His eyes no longer searched for mine. In fact, he barely looked at me at all. Then Ryan came. He was 24, Aaron's nephew. He moved in temporarily while job hunting in the city. At first, he was quiet, polite, unobtrusive. But slowly, his kindness filled spaces inside me I didn't know were empty. He listened when I spoke. He remembered the little things I said. He helped with groceries without being asked. And he noticed if I looked tired. It wasn't dramatic, but it was everything. I had been struggling with lower back pain for months. Aaron brushed it off. Tension, age, nothing serious. But one evening, as I rubbed the ache on the couch, Ryan walked into the room. "Do you want me to help you?" he asked, his voice soft. I laughed nervously, but he insisted with a sincerity that was impossible to resist. I said yes. His hands were firm but gentle, moving slowly over my back. No words, no awkwardness, just the sensation of being tended to, of being seen. I closed my eyes and let his fingers work over tense muscles and over something deeper, something I hadn't let anyone near in a long time. That night in bed, Aaron turned away from me as always, but I stayed awake, thinking of Ryan's hands. Not in a vulgar way, just the attention, the care. A few days later, he offered again. This time, I didn't even answer, I just nodded. His touch was slower, more deliberate. And this time, I felt it. Not just relief, not just warmth, but heat. His fingers paused in places that made my breath catch. Not inappropriate, not exactly, but intentional. Charged. Then he leaned close and whispered, "You deserve so much more than what you've been given." That sentence hit like a lightning bolt. I should have stopped it right there. I should have said something, but instead I froze. I started avoiding him, but his eyes followed me. Not aggressively, gently, intently, as if he knew I was slipping. One evening, Aaron texted that he'd be working late. Ryan came home early. The silence between us pulsed. He asked if my back still hurt. I lied a little. He didn't wait. He stepped behind me, placed his hands on my shoulders, and then we crossed a line. I kissed him first softly, then again and again. His mouth was hungry but patient. My body responded before my mind could protest. The couch became a sea of heat and limbs. His hands explored me like I was sacred. Every kiss was deeper, bolder. He whispered my name between kisses. I didn't tell him to stop. That night was like nothing I had felt in years. He didn't rush. He took his time, undressing me slowly, reverently, as though discovering a body never fully appreciated. He touched me like he wanted to memorize every inch. His lips traveled down my neck, across my chest, pausing to savor every response he pulled from me. My back arched on instinct, the pleasure building in waves I could barely contain. When he was finally inside me, the connection felt terrifyingly intense. Every thrust was slow, deliberate, unhurried, but packed with meaning. He looked into my eyes the entire time, and I couldn't look away. For the first time in so long, I wasn't just a woman fulfilling duties. I was desired. I was worshipped. Afterward, we stayed tangled in each other's arms, the silence heavy but comforting. He brushed my hair back and kissed my forehead like a promise. "I've never wanted someone like this," he whispered. The days after were a blur of stolen glances, shared touches, late-night texts full of heat and longing. We didn't talk about what it meant. We didn't plan. But every time Aaron left the house, I felt my pulse race with anticipation. One afternoon, Ryan came into the kitchen while I was baking. He walked behind me, pressed his body against mine, and slid his hands under my shirt. "I can't stop thinking about you," he said against my ear. I turned, and he lifted me onto the counter, without hesitation. His mouth found mine. And within seconds, we were lost again. We barely made it to the bedroom. It wasn't just physical, it was soul-deep, addictive, dangerous. Then came the message, a job offer in Seattle. He looked at me with conflict in his eyes. "Do I go, or do I stay for you?" I didn't answer. I didn't know how. He left, and I shattered. I became quiet, withdrawn. I scrolled through our texts every night, rereading every word, every memory. Until one night, Aaron sat next to me on the edge of our bed and said, "I know." No anger, no confrontation, just sadness. "You were gone for so long. I stopped trying. But he made you feel seen, didn't he?" I nodded, crying silently. He sighed. "If you want to leave, I won't stop you. But if you stay, we start over from scratch." And I stayed. Not for him. Not for Ryan. But for me, because I had awakened a part of myself I thought had died. And I didn't want to lose her again. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see a woman with scars. But I also see fire. I see truth. And I don't regret feeling alive again. If this story struck a chord in you, leave a like and subscribe for more. Every story reveals a piece of the human heart, and we all carry one inside.